Check the feed on Facebook. All right, here we go, guys. Buenas tardes, ladies and gentlemen. Sí, soy yo, Peter Vasquez, to Conservative New York, aquí on the WYSL Studios, como every day at noon. Hey, top of the afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I hope your morning to this wonderful, what is going to be a wonderful week, has started off super duper great. You know what? Life is what you make it. What's that saying? When you're given a lemon, make lemon juice or lemonade.
It's
or
lemonade.
something. There you go, lemonade, lemonade. Ladies and gentlemen, I have an exciting guest today. Check this out. I'm not even like in a super secret location, but let me start off by telling you this, ladies and gentlemen, right? Because here in the Next Step Show, it is all about educating. It is all about helping you find those next steps so that you and those people around you can just succeed, right? And find their own greatness, like I always say. So listen, right? Autism spectrum disorder is what we're talking today, right? Why? Well, because it's a complex and lifelong development condition that profoundly affects communication, behavior, and social interaction, right? You know that term spectrum, right? It applies adaptly, right? Why? Well, because it captures a wide range of symptoms and the varying degrees that impact the daily living skills, making everyone's experience unique. And see, this is why it's so important, ladies and gentlemen, because we can't put everybody in the same category. Why? Well, the reason why is because each and every experience, like I said, is unique. So check this out, right? With today's show, I am hoping to provide you with a working understanding of ASD, autism spectrum disorder. So mira, amigos, amigas, to make this happen, I am broadcasting live directly from Campaign D headquarters. Yep, right here in the town of Gates, in the city of Rochester, in the county of Monroe. I have the privilege of sitting not just with one, not just with two, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Campaign D people. I've got Mom, Dalton's mom, right, Chrissy? And check this out, a special treat. I didn't know this person was coming, but we got lucky because, yep, in addition to that, we've got a leader, an individual that said, I am going to be involved. I'm going to help educate. Why? Because these leaders that are going to come on here on the air in just about a minute deserve for them to have an opportunity like you and me, and all it costs you is simply to understand. And for that, ladies and gentlemen, you have to take the time. Virginia, the Honorable Legislator Virginia McIntyre, guys, everyone, thank you. Thank you for joining me today and for this privilege that I have. How's everybody doing?
Great.
Are you guys ready to have this discussion?
Let's do this.
All right. That sounds good. So the first thing I want to do, and I'm going to start over at the censor, right? Remember, I need you to talk loud so all our listeners can hear you, because check this out. Our listener base goes all the way down to Pennsylvania, all the way up to Canada. So you got to not yell, but talk loud, right? All right. So let's start with introductions, ladies and gentlemen. This is Campaign D, leaders in our community.
My name is Jordan Smith.
That's it?
I'm 27 years old, about to be 28 at the end of the week, and I'm one of the founding members of Campaign D, and I'm excited to see how far it's gotten and where it'll go.
A founding member. I love that. Next person.
My name is Josh Derrick. I am originally from the Batavia, Leroy area, but I live up here in the city of Rochester. I've been up here almost 5 years now, living completely on my own.
Very nice. Thank you again for coming on the show today.
I'm also involved in a plethora of other nonprofit organizations.
We look forward to hearing about it. See, ladies and gentlemen, did you hear me when I first said these are leaders? All you got to do is listen. Dalton.
Salutations, everyone out there. This is Dalton Letta, the co-creator of Campaign D. It's great to be on the air. I gotta say thanks, Peter, for inviting me on the show. I'm excited.
Oh, listen, I'm the one that's honored, sir. Thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, listen, all you've heard here is right, guys, but check it out. I have a wonderful young lady here to tell us about her experiences as well.
Hola, bonjour, bienvenue. I'm Jenna Diskin. I'm one of the females in this group, and I'm kind of the creative one. I do book reviews on Facebook called Jenna's Books, in case you're interested. Mostly it's on graphic novels, but I'm sure you'll like them. I live in Leroy, and also I'm in a group called Artists Unlimited, as some of the other members around here. Our play is in October, and I'll tell you guys that a little later.
Oh, I look forward to hearing all about it. Absolutely. And sir?
My name is Jason King, and I just have to say that as a member of Campaign D, I just absolutely love what this group has to offer and the opportunities it's given me and so many other people to be better understood and to better understand ourselves. It really is, I mean, I don't use this term lightly, but I would go as far as to say magical.
Magical. I love that. Man, talk about a positive outlook, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, that has been members of Campaign D. But listen, like I mentioned, we've got a mom here, right? And before the show, if it's okay that I share, she had talked about how working with autism isn't just something you do, it's a lifestyle. And boy, do I look forward to hearing about that. Do you mind introducing yourself a little bit about you?
So I just recently was married. So my name is Chrissy Letta
Yes,
Delvecchio.
like Saturday, right?
Yes, I just got married Saturday. Yeah, most of my friends here today were there for the celebration. So, Peter, I'm really excited to be here. I am now the chairwoman for the actual non-for-profit for Campaign D. We are in existence since 2017. I think the last time you had a show, this was discussed. So, Mike Nersinger was there with another one of our founding members, Tyler. So we have been in existence from 2017, and the onset was 5 people got together, wanted to have an opportunity to share the personal experiences of autism. I also would like to elaborate on that there's family experiences too. It's not just the diagnosis of the individual, it's the diagnosis and the impact for families. And I think that's important discussion, if not today, but somewhere down the line that we discuss. I think that's important.
Absolutely. And of course, Virginia McIntyre, talk to me. Tell our listeners who you are, although I don't think there's a person that listens to this show, even in the furthest extent, that don't know you.
Yes. Hi, everybody. My name is Virginia McIntyre. I am the legislator for District 4. That includes about 2/3 of the town of Gates and the southern part of the town of Greece around Unity Hospital. And Campaign D has been such a thriving group here in Gates, but it's not just for people in Gates, right?
Yeah.
Campaign D at this point has become a way for a lot of adults with special needs to socialize.
Yeah.
And they've got an amazing program out here. And so I got involved, more heavily involved, last year in 2023. But it has been a blessing to know everybody and to be able to spread awareness about this incredible group. I have a lot of people with autism in my family. I don't have quite the family experience that Chrissy has. But I mean, autism, I think it touches everybody. Everybody knows somebody or has a family member or knows or has a friend that is somewhere on the spectrum. And there are a lot more people on the spectrum than I think a lot of people realize. You have a lot of adults that just, the diagnosis was so different 20, 30 years ago. You probably have a lot of adults out there that don't even realize they're on the spectrum.
So, Virginia, can I ask you, because we're going to go to break here in a few minutes, why do you care as a legislator? Because there are a lot of legislators around, and I just don't see that kind of commitment. Can you tell us why?
Well, you know that I love the community in general, right? And I want to be involved in the community. But my goodness, Campaign D, and with the service that it does for adults with special needs. We talk a lot about children with special needs, and that's really important. But what happens when people get out of high school? What happens? Where are those social groups and that social structure for them. And so when I saw all of the great work that they were doing, and this is really, it's something that was led by the town of Gates back in 2016 to make sure that adults had a place that they could go to socialize with other people that might understand their very special needs. It's just been a blessing for our community. So I'm very proud of them, and I'm very proud of the work that they do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Guys, you know how privileged I am to have this conversation here with you. So who wants to start talking about their story? Why don't we start with you? Ladies are always first. Because again, let's capture the important stuff, right? Before we get into the very important stuff, let's talk about this play so everybody has time to write it down before their lunch break ends.
Of course. Well, my story is quite simple, really. I was born and, well, I was growing up, had a family, but as I was getting older, my parents noticed my speech was a bit short. And back then I said Papa to my grandfather, but then I always kept saying Pa, which meant my parents knew something was wrong with me. So they tested me and told me I had autism. And it was a bit of a challenge for them because, well, they had 3 other kids. But my sister, she has ADHD. So my parents, they tried to balance this all out, you know. They still loved and respected me and made sure I got a good education in some way. And they took me to a special needs school up in Rochester called Creekside. It was tough, but I made it work. And then Monday, my music teacher told me, would you be perfect to be in Artist Unlimited, a group for kids, teenagers, adults with special needs and non-special needs? And I signed up and they said I was perfect. Ever since then, I've been doing acting and still getting an education, and it's been pretty great. Yes. Then years passed, and then Christy and Dalton mentioned that would you be interested to be in Campaign D, a group for people to spread autism aware with everybody? And I said, sure, that would be fun. And one thing led to another, and I kept bringing my books around. And Chrissy mentioned, would you be interested to make your own vlog on Facebook to make book reviews? And then COVID hit, and then I got the inspiration to make my own books.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Show that to the camera. Ladies and gentlemen, remember, we're on social media. Take a look at the artwork that this young lady has done and the uniqueness behind it. Mira, soy yo, tu conservative New York. Jenna, we're going to go on break. Ladies and gentlemen, no cambien sedayo. Soy yo, tu conservative New York, right here in WISL's, coming to you live from Campaign D headquarters.
They've been filming us this whole time.
Welcome back to the Next Step Show, ladies and gentlemen. Siaki here, coming to you live from Campaign D headquarters. Listen, if you have not heard of Campaign D yet, well, check it out. Consider yourself heard. Why? Because this is an organization that you not only need to look up and learn about, it's an organization that you need to get involved and take their information and take everything about them and just blast it out all over the place, far even further than the WYSL, most powerful AM station around. Jenna, guys, all of you, thank you again for coming on and hanging out with us. Jenna, let's continue with the story, right? You were saying, tell us when your play is on again. You said it's in October?
Yeah, we're doing it a bit early. Kind of a long story. This year, we're doing Beauty and the Beast.
Ooh.
Some of us already got our parts. I'm playing Mrs. Potts. Jason will be playing Codsworth, and Jordan here will be playing none other than the Beast.
Very nice, very nice. You guys excited about that?
Absolutely.
Definitely.
I have to admit, I've got 5 kids, so growing up watching Disney movies and cartoons on Saturday and the iCarlys and all those different things are things that I grew up on, right? So I have to admit, I ended up really liking these cartoon movies, these animations, and Beauty and the Beast is definitely one of the. I love the storyline behind it. Is what I really enjoy. So can we talk, if you guys don't mind? And again, if I ask any questions that you may not feel comfortable with or don't really want to talk about, just it's okay. We'll move on to something else.
Of course.
But I was wondering, Jenna, and we'll continue with you. Life with autism. I think it was you, Chrissy, that mentioned earlier that many with autism, feel that, wait a minute, we're not feeling labeled of any kind. You're kind of labeling us. And I love that statement, right? And I was wondering if you could share with us how you feel about that and how is life with autism?
I will admit there have been struggles, hiccups, and some downfalls, but there have been upbringings and stuff. Luckily, I was raised in a good support system. My grandparents on both sides, my aunts and uncles, my parents, and I do have some friends outside the house, mostly in Artists Unlimited, and I do have some friends out there, and life's been pretty great. I've been having a normal life. I did go to college, SUNY Geneseo, and it's been great.
Congratulations. So you have a bachelor's and associates? What do you have? Master's?
Well, I did a lot of things in college, mostly trying to survive in the world, learning how to pay bills. I did take some classes. I took my first language class, French, 2 times because my old school, we didn't have language classes. I also did art history and also literature, which was my favorite. I got to talk about how I felt about books and reading, all that stuff.
Wonderful. ¿Habla español?
No.
No, pero entiende. That was good. You understood what I said, though. Say your name to everybody again, and if you don't mind, same question.
What was the question again?
The question was, and if you're okay with it, is life with autism? How do you feel about that statement that I mentioned about, you're an individual with your own unique skills. It's the rest of everybody else that's labeling you as something, but yet you're living with it. So if it's okay to talk about that.
I guess. So again, my name is Josh Derrick, and I'm on the autism spectrum. I believe I was diagnosed as having Asperger's syndrome when I was in high school over at Leroy Junior Senior High School, and then for part of my school days, so I spent half of it there at the school, and another half over at a program that I was attending at the Mount Morris BOCES, which I really liked that program a lot.
Nice. Could you tell us why you like the program?
Well, mostly too. I was in a program with other students with disabilities, and I felt more comfortable. I mean, I felt as though I was in a program with other students who also understood me and had some and found that I had some similar interests with one another.
Very nice. And that is so important, right? Just understanding, being around people that are like, okay, you're you and I like you for you.
Yeah. So
Very nice.
I live on my own, which I've been living on my own for just a little over a decade now. I was living before on my own in the city of Batavia, and then I made a choice to move out this way because a lot of other organizations that I got involved in were out this way, and a lot of my doctors I was seeing were also out this way, and just getting back and forth started becoming a bit of a challenge for me. So I made a choice to move out here to see to get myself to those places a lot more easier than what some of my natural supports were able to offer for me.
Very nice. Very nice. Thank you. Jason, right?
That's Jason.
Nope.
No, you're Jason.
Okay.
I
There's a lot of J
apologize.
names.
Hang on,
Jordan, right?
Jordan, that's
Yeah.
right. Got you right here. Jordan, your story, sir. Same question?
Sure. For a little background, I was officially diagnosed around the age of 13. But my parents had suspected something was going on for years. And part of the reason for that is I might get upset out of nowhere over something that happened months ago, for example. And with the diagnosis, there have been some peaks and valleys, so to speak. For example, one of the peaks is I met a lot of these guys because of it. But a big valley, and I think I speak for a few of the people here, but one of the biggest challenges that we face is by society standards, we don't look like we have autism or a disability. And at first they might treat us like how they would treat anybody else. What if our disability is suddenly triggered? Then they'll get very confused, like, why is he acting like this? Or why is she acting like this? They weren't like this before.
Mm-hmm.
And from that point forward, now that they're fully aware, they start to treat us differently. But we still have wonderful support groups, Campaign D, Artists Unlimited. And I consider many of these guys family.
Very nice. Very nice. And then you're also a co-founder of Campaign D.
Yeah, it started out with 5 of us. It was Dalton, it was myself, it was Kenny Moriarty, Tyler Nersinger, and Josh Hawk. I think we technically officially formed it as the Fab Five around the time Tyler graduated high school. And it was just 5 of us that would hang out and be able to be around other people that can relate to us. And then it started to expand. People became more aware of our group and what we were doing. So it's like, okay, let's make this an official organization. And then we thought for a little while, it's just a bunch of guys in here. We got to bring in some girls too. So we contacted people like Jenna, being like, would you be willing to represent the females who have autism? And she was more than happy to do it. We're happy to have her on board, and we hope to expand further.
Very nice. Very nice. Dalton.
Yes, Peter, what would you like to say, bud?
I would like you to use that thunderous voice that you have, right, and share briefly with our listeners your story, sir, your life with autism. You know, how do you feel about that label that people place on you, and probably even feel that you have to justify it sometimes.
That's a good question, Peter. So I was actually
I
diagnosed.
thought so. I'm
at
pretty
age of-
smart.
I was actually diagnosed. Sorry about that, folks. So, anyways, Peter, that's a good question. So I was diagnosed at the age of 3, and my first symptoms were I would never talk at all, or I would constantly look away, and that happened for about a full year before I started talking. But when I was actually diagnosed, my doctors they judged me instantly. They're like, "This kid's not going to go far anywhere. He's going to be institutionalized." My mom was actually devastated. She was heartbroken. I mean, nowadays doctors don't do that, but back then doctors, not to say anything offensive about them, but they always judged us early, thinking we're not going to get far in life.
I'm going to have you hold that thought for 1 second, sir. We got to go to break, right? We got to give people some time to relax. Ladies and gentlemen, check this out. CDC estimates that about 1 in 36 children in the United States is diagnosed with ASD. So yo, the conservative Nuyorican Peter Vasquez, live from Campaign D headquarters. I'll be right back. All right, you got about 5 minutes if anybody has to run out and take a
Yeah,
stretcher.
it's up on the third. You guys are doing great, really. I know it's hard when you're
Yes, but we're muted. So All right, we're going back on in about 30 seconds.
Okay.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and just a quick second to say thank you to all our sponsors. Thank you to all our listeners. And hey, did you know that autism is about 4 times more common in boys than it is in girls, which Jenna makes your story so much more unique. Not that you guys' stories aren't unique, right? But hey, Dalton, please, let's continue with who you are and your response, if you remember where you left off.
Yes. So as I was saying, so the doctors judged me early, saying I would be institutionalized. But look at me now. I'm living on my own. I pay my own bills. I've got my own job, and I'm still looking into acting work. So I'm proud of myself for how far I've accomplished and how far I've come along in life.
Can you call my kids and give them some advice on getting their own apartments and paying their own bills, please? I'd appreciate that.
Like I said, just work hard. Don't waste your money. Use it wisely. Have a good budget and an allowance.
Okay, I gotta ask. He hesitated and used your money wisely and budgets. Is that like
Yes, he's doing better, but yes.
I always do good.
You do a great job,
They're
though.
probably
Yes.
better than me.
Yes.
Nobody's perfect, but thanks.
Okay, so Jason,
Mhm.
I got it right.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, wonderful. Jason, your story, if you don't mind. And the same question, if you remember the question, or you want me to repeat it?
Well, you can repeat it just to be safe.
Just to be safe, actually, yeah, absolutely. It's your story with autism, life, and that one, thing where society has kind of labeled you as autistic, when in reality you're an individual with very good unique. I mean, you have uniqueness to yourself, and with good. So how do you feel about all that and your life with it? I guess.
Well, I like to think that I have uniqueness to myself, but I've been I was diagnosed back in around 2014, so about a decade ago, and like since then, it changed my schooling and a lot of aspects of my life. And looking in retrospect, there were signs even before I was officially diagnosed, from like how I acted and reacted to certain situations, and just there were a lot of things. But I feel like being diagnosed, in my case at least, it gave me almost a sense of clarity, because I feel like a lot of people like put labels on people like myself and all the people here and just assume that that's all we are. That's really only the beginning, because that gives us a kind of platform to assess ourselves and actually approach, like, basically it allows us to create I'm trying to create a metaphor, and it just sometimes it's hard to do on the spot.
It is, yeah, no worry, and listen, guys, please be yourself. We don't have to be fancy. Although I do like metaphors, even though I mess them up all the time.
Metaphors are part of who I am. That's part of the problem.
So you have a book in front of you called Sketch, I believe.
Oh yeah, this is just my sketchbook. But I am an artist, so I will sometimes I carry one of these around with me to kind of express myself, be able to work on, just my drawing, my abilities, because I want to be able to inspire people one day and be able to create something that is able to inspire people to pursue the things that they enjoy and pursue what they feel makes them unique.
Do you have a sketch that you like the best that you can share with our listeners on social media? Maybe you could hold it up and show them.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, remember 346-3000. Join the conversation. If you have a question, I'm sure everyone here would be happy to answer. That's the whole purpose. See, como yo digo siempre, it's all about dialogue. 346-3000. Fred Salbar, thank you for joining us on social media. Lorraine Parr, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, you can catch us everywhere, right? Because if you don't know, you don't know. But like this gentleman just said, right? What is it? Assume that this is that's all you are. You said that, and you know what? We have a problem in society where a lot of times we'll look at something, we'll make an assumption, and then that's it. That's what that person or that thing or that process becomes. And I know at least one of you guys are even involved politically, but all of you guys are involved in some form of art. And I'll tell you, and I'm not going to, I'll pin my son out there. He gets mad at me every time I bring him up on the radio. But I think I mentioned this to you before. My son was the son that we said he grew up under his blanket reading a book because that's where he always wanted to be. But man, I'll tell you, when I saw him on stage, my little King Solomon, he was just a completely different person. I'm like, wait a minute. Anyways, with that, I want to talk a little bit about what you guys do for advocacy, because see, I called you leaders, and quite frankly, each and every single one of you are honorable individuals, and in my opinion, one of the most profound people who truly understand what life means. The whole concept of just loving what you have, being humble, and helping people. So let's talk about advocacy, if I may. And if I get your names wrong, I apologize. But it's Josh, right?
Yes.
I understand that you're involved in politics. Is there anybody else that's involved in politics?
No.
Not really.
No. Why do you do politics, and how involved are you in politics?
Well, for me, with being involved in politics, I've been helping to educate our political leaders out there about people with developmental disabilities, and what it's like too for people with IDD, and like how it is for us on kind of like on a day-to-day basis almost.
Nice. So tell me, do you feel that they listen to you? And I don't mean just you sit in a room and they're hearing you like we're doing now. I mean actually listen to what you're saying and actually put things in place.
Yes, because I know because earlier this year I went up to the state capitol and the state legislative office building up in Albany just about 6 times with 6 different organizations.
Very nice. Very nice.
And pretty much every time I went up to Albany, I'd always run into my own. I always would run into my state assembly member.
Nice.
And I briefly ran into my state senator a couple times, but haven't really been able to meet with them face to face yet. Mostly my state assembly member, who's really awesome.
Do you hope to run for office someday yourself?
As long as I have some supporters, yeah. Maybe.
Listen, so those people that lead always have people that follow. That's why a leader is a leader. And listen, you're here. You're one of the leaders in Campaign D. You're holding elected officials accountable. I promise you that when you're ready, and you got to be ready, because politics is pretty nasty, right?
Yes.
When you're ready and you've got these great people around you, you can rest assured you're going to make a phenomenal elected individual, whatever office you decide to run for.
And besides with going up to the state capitol, I also go up to Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C. every year as well.
Excellent. You guys, you got your future senator here, right?
Yeah.
So now all
Peter,
of you guys,
if I can interject,
Absolutely.
we went to a convention in Rochester this year for Sanny's because Josh pushed it so hard.
Yeah.
And I actually were getting ready to do a memorializing resolution on some of the transportation issues that people with special needs and seniors have been having.
Yeah.
which
So-
are significant.
That's right. And Mercedes Vasquez came out with one federally, and I am working on my memorializing resolution, I believe, for the one for the state.
And that
So
is
that'll be out, I think, next month. As soon as I get
Legislator-
it, it's going to be coming out. for
Legislator Mercedes Vasquez Simmons,
Yep.
legislature of District 22, also one of the poorest districts in New York State that has the top 2 zip codes, which is crazy. And even then, she gets it. These are issues. You know, we talk so much politics going on, right? Everybody has an opinion. No one seems to have a solution, though, but you guys do. So who founded Campaign D? Just here, you two, right? You founded it, and then who came in after you guys? Who was the next person?
I don't really know. It was a long time ago.
No, that's right. That's
Well,
what we
had
got these
Patrick
guys
Saley
for.
as well, right?
Yes.
He's the
Yes,
guy that came
Patrick.
in
So
within the founders.
there's 10 members at this time.
Nice.
5 original co-founders, and then they just kind of came in after that because they wanted to diversify, inclusify. They wanted to bring more members in. We hit COVID and it kind of stopped us, our momentum a little bit, but we're slowly starting to pick that momentum back up.
And the bowling program is amazing, which is kind of
Gotcha.
like the main project that they do every single year was getting everybody out to bowl, and it's all people are included, right? Not just people with autism, but all different special needs kids.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back in 1 o 2 minutos. Seeking to Conservative New York and on WYSL live from Campaign D headquarters. Which we may have to.
That's okay. That's really okay.
I'm up
All
for
right.
it.
You guys are so proud.
Welcome back to the Next Step Show, ladies and gentlemen. Soy Joe Peter Vasquez coming to you live here on WYSL stations, live from Campaign D headquarters. Like I said, ahorita, aquí in Gates, New York, in Monroe County. Why? Because this matters. Because the only thing you need to do, the only thing anybody on this panel here is asking you to do is to listen, understand, support, and simply give a chance. You have a picture, sir, that I asked you to share. You found one that you like the
Yes.
most.
So this one I feel like expresses a lot of my artistic ability. This one and this one are of a character that I created myself. I revamped them in 2019, but it was back when I was in 2nd grade in 2008, I believe,
Nice.
that I originally created them. And I just feel like they're a good representation of both my art and just, my creativity.
Very nice, very nice. And all expressing what you feel and how you feel. And it's done so masterfully. Ladies and gentlemen, you can catch that on our Facebook stream. You can also catch it on YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, and I think we may even have a time for at least one call, 346-3000. We have a book writer and author, right, who not only wrote her own book, she created the cover. We got a politician who's holding politicians accountable, and now the founder's question, sir. You guys created, your mom, she kind of said, hey, you guys created this recreation program above and beyond what you were already doing with Campaign D. Ladies and gentlemen that are listening, listen, this is a group that you absolutely need to look more into. And if you're wondering where you're going to write your support checks to, Campaign D. Tell us about this rec program.
So it's a good thing you asked us, Pete. So we decided we love bowling because some of the other sports we tried doing were either it was too hot out or was too difficult to understand. But we knew bowling was more easy and more outgoing and more fun. So we decided, hey, why don't we just start a club at bowling? And since then, we've just been doing it for the last 7 years.
Nice. So what does it consist of?
It consists a lot of
Bowling?
well, bowling is a big thing, yes, but there are a lot of outdoor activities that we do as well. Sometimes we might do kickball, or we're just painting rocks, something very simple, but just something to keep us active. And when we first founded it, we had the idea that it could be, I don't know if sanctuary is the right word per se, but just a location that a lot of people with disabilities can go. Because sometimes if they go somewhere and they don't know anybody who's like them, they might feel very uncomfortable, very introverted. They won't really interact with people. But if there's someone there that they can relate to, they're a lot more open. They express themselves a lot more. And after a lot of them got settled and they're a lot more familiar with this group, then we started bringing in people who may not necessarily have these disabilities, but they could come in and learn about the people who do, so that when they go back into the public eye and they are more aware of how these people function, they can interact with them in a much more, I don't know, civilized way is the right way to phrase it.
Maybe
Accepting.
Inclusive, yeah, inclusive is a better way to put it.
Remember, speak towards the
Oh,
mic,
I'm
guys,
sorry.
just so
Yeah,
that everybody
And
can hear you.
ABC Gates Bowl gave you guys a home for that, right?
Yeah.
So that's going to be this year. When is it starting, Chrissy?
So our 7-month season starts in September. It's the first week, first Friday. We bowl every Friday for 7 months, break around Christmas.
When exactly do you bowl, so that people know?
Yeah, so from 3:30 to 5. If anybody's interested in joining, we have a sign up that's still in the process that you can do. But yeah, you just go to the Campaign D website. You can find out more information about our social programming and all of our other initiatives.
And also for anybody that's interested in donating, because the goal this year was to make it free for everybody,
Yes,
right? To
yes.
make sure that all the Campaign D members, anybody that wanted to participate in this program, that they wouldn't have to spend any
Yes.
money to do so. So
Yes.
it would be equitable and inclusive for everyone.
Yes.
And that's important, because having it equitable and inclusive is I have a tough question, guys. Okay, I'm going to ask this tough question. I want you guys to think about it. Answer if you want. Mom, please feel free to answer. Virginia, and the question is, in your opinions, is it your responsibility to let everybody else know that you've been given this label of autism so that they can understand and accept you? Or is it just their responsibility to say, wait a minute, let me stop and listen and talk to this individual so that we can better help them?
In my experience, it's not necessarily that it's our responsibility that's handed to us, but because we are the ones in the position, we do it anyways because we want it to be known. And people seem to know us, or seem to assume that they know us for what we have rather than who we are.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's something that we would like to see change. And thankfully, I think we are making a difference there.
Yeah, thank you so much. Anyone else want to respond to that?
I believe in a way it's a two-way street, where it's kind of the responsibility of both parties. Because if we don't reach out, they're not going to receive it. And if they don't reach out either, then I'm trying to find the proper way to word it.
No, you just said it perfectly. If they don't reach out, right, how can you respond? Because it isn't just your responsibility.
And then if we don't reach out, then they won't necessarily have any interest in what we're saying. They won't really pursue any sort of education on how they can interact with.
You know, I think that's called having a dialogue.
Dialogue.
Isn't
Yes.
that
Yeah.
nuts, right? How much can be resolved with that?
And that's why they actually started the forums. So back in 2017, Pete, they actually sat down. At the time, it was Senator Joe Robach, and we had an open forum
Right.
dialogue where people could come and actually interact with individuals on the spectrum, adult individuals on the spectrum. And that is part of what we're founded on, is giving a voice to individuals in hopes of reaching all people in the community to share that dialogue. That's how you do it, right? By building
Mhm.
relationships and having those conversations. So it is a two-way street, and that's what they do. Come spend time with us, have lunch with us, meet us at a library, talk with us. Let's have that dialogue. That's what we're hoping to expand upon.
Wasn't that what D was for?
Yes, dialogue.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dialogue, yeah.
dialogue.
It
Start the dialogue and the
demystifies
stigma.
the whole
Yeah.
stigma. Anyone else have any other comments on that question?
Well,
No?
I can at least say that we hope in the future to have more panels so that they can interact with us directly. Have any questions for any specific person, we'll hopefully be able to answer it right there
Absolutely.
and educate them further that way.
So I can tell you that you can count on me. I with you guys' permission, I hope to make this a semi-regular thing, because I
Sure.
do think people need to
Absolutely.
hear and create these stories and talk about the politics. We have a very important election coming on. So listen, we've got about a minute and a half left, okay? And this is going to go by really fast. So once I let you know, and you hear the music, we got to kind of wrap things up. Can you guys either collectively or individually, but keep it extremely short, give some advice? I like to call it next steps advice for our listeners so that they can take their next steps. And somebody, please give your website so that they can get a hold of you. Who wants to go?
I'll go first.
Okay.
So yeah, just when you meet a person on the spectrum, just get to know them and don't judge them.
Very nice.
Whether or not they have the disability, don't jump to conclusions, treat everyone equally.
Have dialogue.
Don't think that people on the autism spectrum are all the same. We're all unique. We all have different. We all have different feelings and that, and
Absolutely.
just see us for who we are.
Make sure you have a big support system with lots of love, care, and respect. Come from friends or family wise.
And just because people may give us labels, we don't have to wear those labels. We decide who we are, and we have to show that to the world.
What's the website real quick?
www.campaignd.com.
CampaignD.com. That's it. That's where you got to go. Ladies and gentlemen, you hear me say it all the time. Be a leader, be a leader, be a leader. Say it with me. Leadership is the beacon that guides me, for it's through selfless service that I illuminate the way for others to find their own greatness. Y no te olvides, la voz de libertad at WYSL, to conservative Nuyorican. And the next step, siempre, siempre te amamos. Thank you.
Yay!